And one of the great challenges for an organization like the United Nations is how do you sustain peace? So in those countries where we've had violence, the greatest risk factor for the recurrence of violence are the commission of crimes against populations in the course of those wars. And how do you actually sustain peace in a society that has undergone such horrific violence? I think of a country like South Sudan, for example, because one of the trends the political scientists point to is that a lot of the civil conflicts we see seem to recur. You have regions of the world where they break out frequently. And so there is something within the challenge of peace building that we've yet to come to grips with. I do think, just as we were talking at the beginning of our remarks, that institutions have something to do with this. But building institutions, new institutions, on the foundation of a previously very violent society is extremely difficult.
Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's sort of consistent with the numbers that I've looked at, including there seem to be countries where war, crime, sort of can blend into each other with gangs that become militias, and countries like Colombia, which had both a civil war and sky-high homicide rates, and then horrific political violence in the 40s and 50s that most people have forgotten, la violencia, which actually was kind of liberal versus conservative political parties at each other's throats, killed 1 million people over a dozen years. And then that got replaced by the communist militias and right-wing militias against each other and against the government. Also in the backdrop, a lot of drug and gang-fueled homicide, often shading into militias and paramilitaries. So they can go together. I mean, and increasingly, that's what war seems to have devolved into.